All right, we're live.
All right. Well, welcome to the first episode of the EvenFront College Football Show. This is Noah Carter, our Auburn insider, Jack Thompson, our Troy equipment manager, Matthew Johnson, a former D1 basketball or football player, and I'm Grayson Cannon, former NAIA basketball player. And we're just going to get started. We're going to talk a lot of college football playoffs, games, and the Auburn firing. We'll start with Noah on our Auburn firing. Let's start with, who do you think the best hire is? Who would you go with?
Absolutely, Grayson. Yeah, man, I think this comes down to two candidates in my mind. You got them right here on the screen. I think it's between John Summerall and DJ Durkin. In my mind, Durkin is the no-brainer. I think it's a missed opportunity if we don't go with him. And I'm going to tell you why really quick. Let's run through Tulane. First of all, Tulane has regressed statistically in both offense and defense between 2024 and 2025. We won't get into the numbers there. I don't think they're important. But the important stat with John Summerall in his 4-year coaching career as a head coach, 0-6 versus top 25 opponents. Been outscored 218-90. That doesn't sound like a winner to me. It sounds like another Brian Harsin with a good win percentage in a lower conference. DJ Durkin, on the other hand, failed stint at Maryland, but at Auburn, his defense has been absolutely incredible. The stats behind it, also his stats at A&M, and the players love him. He's at a unique situation at Auburn where half of the players, they want DJ Durkin to be the head coach. And if you lose DJ Durkin, you're going to lose some studs on that defense. Not only some studs, some young studs. I think DJ Durkin is the right hire here. Take him, keep your roster, get a discount, hire a big-name OC, and I think Auburn is going to make some waves. You can't judge a head coach by his first stint. Nick Saban was 34-24 at Michigan State. Just because he failed at Maryland doesn't mean he'll fail at Auburn. I think Durkin's the right hire here.
Well, let me follow up with you. Do you think there's any, before we go to Matt, do you think there's any chance that you can keep DJ Durkin as a coordinator and then hire a head coach, or is that not possible?
Very little. From what I'm hearing, the locker room is very divided. If you were to hire a head coach that is, especially a defensive head coach like John Summerall is, half of the locker room is going to want to play for DJ Durkin, and they can't have that. The move is, if a new head coach is hired, especially a defensive head coach like John Summerall, like I mentioned, Durkin will be gone. And not only will Durkin be gone, he will get another head coaching opportunity out of school, or he will go get a big-time DC job at an Ohio State, Texas, something like that. I don't think there's really a realistic scenario where you get to keep Durkin as a DC.
Yeah. Well, I know you probably have a different take on this, Matt, being you played for Summerall, and what do you think?
Obviously, I respect Noah's opinion. I know he's pretty in touch with the Auburn faithful, so I think he is preaching one of the prevailing sentiments coming out of Auburn right now. My main question with that is, are people at Auburn, or do the players love Auburn because of DJ Durkin, or is that just the program they're building over there? Is it because they have nice facilities and a good fan base, or is it because of DJ Durkin? So I think when you put DJ Durkin at your top guy, you're kind of down Auburn, and I don't think Auburn's in the position they are because of DJ Durkin. Who's to say they can't recruit those same players with a John Summerall, who has definitely proven he can recruit Alabama specifically well, and that's one of the things so special about Auburn is its location. It's got a great hold on all of the area around it, and has been proven to recruit Alabama and Georgia really well. And John Summerall is that same guy. Even at Tulane, a lot of his players have been recruited from the Alabama area, and he's been proven to recruit at a high level. I'll say I played with him when I played at Troy. He's a culture changer. I think a lot of the issues Auburn's having are culture issues. I think that's pretty easy to say when you have one of the most talented rosters in the SEC on paper and it hasn't been performing. Even if DJ Durkin's defense is playing well, I know Hugh Freeze, that's kind of what ultimately got him out, was the lack of offense. But Summerall, I don't have enough good stuff to say about his guy. Noah said wanted to bring up his winning percentage. John Summerall's winning percentage is 7.7 66%, or about 76%. That's pretty high. 2 back-to-back Sun Belt championships, which if you know anything about the Sun Belt, it's pretty hard to do. A really competitive conference, and people don't stay at the top for long. But yeah, Summerall's my guy.
Let me cut you off a little bit. Let's just play a game. On paper, we're looking at another candidate, a third candidate. He's 69-19 in his career as a head coach. He's won 3 Mountain West championships. Looks like a good hire on paper, just like John Summerall. Who is that man? Brian Harsin. I do not want a Brian Harsin 2.0. We cannot have that.
But Harsin, one of his main issues was his inability to recruit, and I don't think Summerall would have that issue. That's ultimately what got Harsin ran out of Auburn, was that he wasn't recruiting well and didn't want to be a part of the Auburn culture. And I think Summerall understands it. He's coached in the SEC before.
That's fair. That's fair. No head coaching experience in the SEC, though. I think it's a little bit of a rush hire. I'm not sold on John Summerall. I'm not saying he's going to be a bad hire, but I think not taking Durkin is just missing on some gold that's sitting in your backyard, man. I think the Auburn defense, top 5 defense in the nation, you have an average offense come in, you retain that talent, you're competing for national championships in year 1 under DJ Durkin.
I think Auburn's capable of going to get other guys. I don't think John Summerall and DJ Durkin are the only guys on this list we see here. We have Kenny Dillingham and James Franklin. By no means would be bad hires, in my opinion. What do you think, Grayson?
I mean, I think the top 3 guys on our list right there would all be phenomenal hires. I mean, I think you can there's 20 guys you can put in that 4 and 5 slot. So, I mean, honestly, I think John Summerall's a great move. DJ Durkin's probably the safest move because he's been there. I mean, I'd like to say that Noah's point on
roster retention, DJ Durkin's the guy.
Yeah. And if Durkin stays, you probably lose a very minimal amount of players, but that does put a lot of pressure on hiring a good OC, and I just don't know if there's any good OC hires out there right now that would come to Auburn. But
which I will say, like, Auburn's sitting at 4 and 5 right now. I think there's something that really simplifies the DJ Durkin situation. It's going to be if he goes and beats Vandy on Saturday, I think it makes it pretty easy for Auburn. Or if they went out and shock Alabama in Georgia.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with the Florida interim coach right now. If he would have won that game against Georgia, it's probably his job. So,
yeah. I
mean, I don't think there's a lot of coaches out there. There's also a lot of coaching openings, but I don't think it'd be very hard for Auburn to make a bad move here.
Yep.
And I don't know. We'll see.
I'll tell you, there's one name before we move on from this Auburn job that I've been hearing a lot lately, and he's not on this list, but I realistically think he's the number 3 coach in this coaching search, and it's Jeff Brom at Louisville.
Yeah.
And I don't hate that name. I mean, I don't love his demeanor. Not sure if it's a great culture fit at Auburn, but his track record is very proven between Purdue and Louisville, coming into absolute, trash states of programs and flipping them and turning them around. I don't hate Brom. I think he's number 3 in that race realistically right now, and I've been hearing his name a lot more. So just another name to keep an eye on.
I think Brom and Summerall kind of fit the same mold, kind of both hard-nosed culture shifters. Yeah. If Auburn, if the people in the suits up there decide that's what they need, I think it'll be one of those 2 guys.
Yep, and you're right. And your point about DJ Durkin, he finishes 2-1 in these final 3 games somehow. Coaching search ends right there.
Johnny, into a bowl
hopefully
game.
One of those losses is not to Mercer.
I don't know, though. You go 2-1, beat Bama and beat Vanderbilt, lose to Mercer.
I don't know. I don't think you recover from the Mercer loss there at home.
Yeah. Last thing, Brent Key was a big guy everyone was looking at. He made a comment about if you cut him open, he's going to bleed gold and blue Georgia Tech colors. So he's probably out of the race for anywhere else.
Jeff Brom is also a Louisville alumni as well as Brent Key. So there's things to keep watch on.
Don't be so sure about Brom. I think there's some legit smoke, but you're right. Brent Key has shot down the Auburn job. And from what I'm hearing, Brent Key has way more ties to Tuscaloosa, and I think he's looking very long-term at that. Just some opinion, just some things I'm hearing. He does not want the Auburn job, but you're right.
Where I was going with the Brent Key is that Kenny Dillingham's been asked a few times, and he has not shut it down at all about coming to Auburn. So
Yeah, and I think Dillingham, I think this is a play by Dillingham trying to get more support for the Arizona State program. I think these are his agents trying to leverage to get more support, get some more NIL support that Dillingham's been vying for at Arizona State. I don't buy the smoke with Kenny Dillingham. I
And you
don't.
just don't know what Jimmy Sexton's cooking up. I mean, bro is literally every major college football coach's agent, and he's been known to do this before, where he can stir up some smoke and get all of his guys extensions and get them paid. So
Yeah,
I think
and
it's
why
about
do you
time. It's
why
about
do
time to move on from Auburn. We've been yapping.
Yeah,
I
last
agree.
thing, just any thoughts on the Notre Dame scheduling from either of you?
It creates a very difficult schedule for Auburn in 27 and 28.
I don't think there's any incentive for any SEC team to be playing. In my opinion, I don't think there's any incentive for any big SEC team to be scheduling a hard game. I mean, I think the schedule by itself is a gauntlet. You're going to see stretches like Bama's went through this year with Georgia, Missouri, and Tennessee, Oklahoma, and adding another elite program to that at the start of the year, I think, is dangerous and can end your playoff hopes quick.
Yeah,
I agree. We've already seen this. We've seen Mississippi State drop Troy out their schedule for next season, so I would expect to see more of that to occur, like you said, with their tough schedules and that sort of thing. So,
I also don't think, as an SEC team, you should be worried about trying to get those extra games in to boost your resume because, I mean, they've, as the committee showed, I mean, they put 8 teams in the top 25 this week, so, I mean, I really don't think you need those extra games.
And I don't think I think Mississippi State's coach came out today and said the SEC didn't want an auto bid. I think that kind of speaks to how powerful the SEC is.
They don't need it.
Don't discount the amount of funds it will generate for the program.
Money is the one thing that I think would be a good idea, but it's just
money only goes so far when you're losing games.
I mean, unless Auburn's got one of their best years of all time coming up in 2027, 2028.
That adds some pressure to the next Auburn coach. Now, I'm trying to get off of Auburn, but one of your first games is going to be against the loaded Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something to think about. And Auburn historically does not let coaches, because they have a high standard, they don't let coaches sit around and lose games. So
you're right.
Maybe something comes into play.
Moving on, we are going to stay with Auburn because we're going to go over the Auburn-Vandy game coming up. So if you want to pull up the graphic for that one. Jack, who you got this week?
I got Vandy coming off 2 losses. I think they're ready to get back in the win column. Perfect opportunity here against Auburn. Struggling team going through some transition. Expect them to keep on struggling. I don't think DJ Durkin will have an answer to the offensive struggles. Obviously, he's a defensive coordinator, not an offensive coach. Maybe he can spark a fire in them. He might, but I expect it to be close. But I think Vandy will win.
Yeah, I played offensive football. It's hard for me to imagine that they're going to come in and who's calling the plays. Noah?
It's Derek Nix.
It's hard for me to imagine Derek Nix is just going to come in and install this magnificent offense. It's just going to click. And Vandy's defense has been solid all year. And I think Vandy will put up points, which is something that Auburn's been pretty good at this year. I think they're one of the only teams in the country that hasn't allowed a team to score 24 points. I think Vandy, like Jack says, is going to aim for a bounce-back game here. I've got Vandy to cover.
That's right. Yeah, and I'll hop in here and give my take. So I think this is actually a very good matchup for Auburn. Durkin has proven to slow down Pavia. Last year, Durkin and the defense was not the reason we lost that game. It was solely on the offense. I think this game comes down to the Auburn offense, which just named Ashton Daniels as the starter, and will have Derek Nix calling the plays. And I have zero faith in that. We have seen nothing this season to give me any faith in this offense. I think it's an ugly game, a low-scoring game. I've got Vandy winning 17-10 in an ugly game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing you could hope for that you've seen nothing yet from the Auburn offense is the head coach firing lights a fire under everyone. That's the only thing. I mean, we've seen it. Saw it with Florida against Georgia. Maybe you see something like that. But
it goes one of two ways most of the time. It's either catastrophic or they play better. So
yeah, I mean, I don't really understand the Ashton Daniels starting this week after what we saw at Kentucky last week. But I mean, I trust a coaching staff that they see practice and they know more than us. But I mean,
I'm
we'll
wondering
see.
what's going on with Deuce Knight because that
How bad is he that he's not playing?
Kentucky game is hard to watch.
Listen, Deuce Knight, not to get off on a tangent here, he has had one appearance, went in at Ball State, looked like a true freshman. You do not put him in a game like this set up for failure with a offense now not even being run by the guy who usually calls plays. Don't throw him into the fire here. If you hope to retain him for next season, keep him good, keep him fresh. Maybe he's starting game 1 next season.
Yeah. I mean, one stat that I wrote down just in my notes, I just think with the receiving room that Auburn's got for them to be 118th in passing, they're the 3rd worst in Power 4, only behind Wisconsin and Iowa, who Iowa doesn't throw the football. Wisconsin's on a non-scholarship QB right now. So I just think that's insane to have all that talent. And I don't know if it's the scheme with what Freeze is running or they just don't have a quarterback.
I do think it's the scheme. I mean, you do not lack talent in that wide receiver room. You really don't lack talent on that offensive line. Now, Connor Lew going out with an ACL injury out for season, that stinks. But no, there's no excuse for that stat.
Yeah. Lastly, I didn't get my pick.
Did we get y'all's
it's a must win
yeah.
for Vandy if they want any playoff chance. So I think they probably pull it out. It's at home. Probably don't take Vandy the points just because how talented that Auburn defense is. But yeah. Any final thoughts? Anyone?
Ugly game. I think it'll be an ugly game. I do.
Most likely. Well, going on to the EvenFront game of the week, Texas Tech BYU. We'll start with you, Matt. Who you got?
This is an exciting game for me. Obviously, not a very original game of the week, but I think it's you got a number 7 versus 8 matchup right after the college football playoff committee selects it. I think it's a must-watch game. Texas Tech getting their starting quarterback back this week. A lot of people are saying this might be a shootout. I really don't think it is. I think BYU has been pretty sound all year defensively. I think it's going to be a grinder. I think I said that on Twitter earlier this week. I think it's going to be a gritty one. I think David Bailey coming off the edge and Texas Tech's front 7. It's going to be hard for BYU to handle. I think BYU is playing really well. I think I'm going to have to take BYU minus points here.
Listen, I think this is a very much overhyped game between two very overhyped teams. We look at Texas Tech, 58th strength of schedule in the nation. BYU, 46th strength of schedule in the nation. I do think this is a battle of two overhyped teams. In the end, I do think Texas Tech getting their starting quarterback back, I think they pull it out. They cover.
I will say, I'll just look at our quick look stats here. Texas Tech offensively is very good. I did the stat rundown this week. Both teams are pretty good statistically. BYU's obviously, I think they're on the lower end on this list on a lot of categories, but they have a really good turnover margin, which, as you guys know, wins football games.
Yeah, we'll go to Jack first. What do you think, Jack?
I'll just say one thing y'all didn't really hit on is I think BYU may have a more threatening schedule down the road. So, there's an incentive for them to win this game. They are undefeated. So, it being the game of the week kind of bothers me in that either one of these teams could probably lose and still make the playoffs. So, yes, there's playoff implications, but either team could lose this game and their season would still be alive. But I expect Texas Tech to win this game. So,
if Texas Tech loses this game, their season is still alive, but it's going to be very hard for them to get back in. I mean, you see how the committee thinks of ACC and the Big 12. I mean, a 2-loss Big 12 team, unless they make the championship, which if they get that second loss, I don't know. It's going to be very hard for them to get in. You got Utah right there that probably takes that second spot. But personally, I think Texas Tech front 7, even though they bought it, it's one of – I do think overall they're overhyped. But that Texas Tech front 7 with David Bailey, the guy's got 12 sacks on the year. He's putting up Will Anderson numbers when he was second in the Heisman. I don't know how he's not top 10 in the Heisman race right now. I guess whose team he plays for. But I mean, they've got some dogs up there. Romello Height, transfer from Georgia Tech, and what's his name? The linebacker is really good, Jacob Rodriguez. But
Jacob Rodriguez, yeah, he's a dog.
I think,
they've got
I think it's also worth
that. BYU sitting in at number 6 in red zone defense.
Yeah.
And
I think it's also worth
Texas Tech
mentioning
offense.
that BYU's running back is still questionable, and he's definitely the motor for that offense.
Yeah,
So that's
absolutely.
definitely going to hurt them. So another reason why I'm sticking with the Red Raiders to win this game.
BYU is also. I'm taking Texas Tech minus the points. I think they're.
Man, not only
Going above it.
Colorado with BYU this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're out talented. BYU does something good to receivers. What's his name? Chase Roberts and Parker Kingston. I just don't know if they have time to get open when you got David Bailey on the edge coming for you. So
I think
We'll
BYU's just got a better culture. I think Kalani Sitake's gonna have them boys ready to go, and they've come in and had some big upsets in environments they're not supposed to win in this year. So that's why I like BYU.
game's at 11 a.m., so
Funky
crowd might
kickoff.
play a little less factor, but we'll see. So, any final thoughts, Noah?
Nothing really to add there. I think, I like Texas Tech, and I take them to cover here. I do.
All right. So, moving on to Bama LSU, another game with a recent head coach firing. First game out with no Brian Kelly, no Whit Weeks either. So, it's going to be a tough game for LSU. First game for an interim head coach, has to go to Bama. We'll see how that goes. Any initial thoughts, Matthew?
It's hard to say. Like we've talked about it, the interim bump. I think Frank Wilson is going to have the guys ready to play. If you look at he's an LSU guy. He's been there for a long time. I think the fan base loves him. He's a running back coach. I want to say LSU has been averaging about 6 yards per carry on the run this year, which is weird because they haven't really leaned on it. I think they're going to come out. They're going to try to run the ball. I know Alabama's had some lackluster run defense this year, so interesting to see how that comes into play. Ultimately, I think LSU will probably keep this one close in the first half. I think Bama and Ty Simpson and their elite passing game is going to eventually wear away. This LSU defense has had some struggles this year, especially without Whit Weeks. Without Whit Weeks, their all-star SEC linebacker out. I think Ty Simpson will pick them apart.
Before we switch over, a really crazy stat about Whit Weeks. They're 15 points per game when he's playing allowed. I mean, I think it's fourth in the country when Whit Weeks is playing. So a top 4 defense. In these past 3 weeks where he hasn't played, they've given up 37 points per game, which is just, I mean, that's insane.
LSU does have an elite defensive backs with DJ Pickett.
I mean, that's why Kelly's out of there. They've got some insane talent on that defense and offense, and it's just.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that they will slow down the Bama pass game, like I said, but I think it's eventually just going to wear them away. I don't think LSU will be able to hang 4 quarters. And Bryant-Denny, I think home field advantage and Bryant-Denny is a big deal on this one too.
Yeah, piggybacking off of that, I mean, you look at this matchup, Bryant-Denny at night. You look at the shared opponent, Vanderbilt. Bama win 30-14. LSU gets beat 31-24. Ty Simpson 20-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Well on his way to be. What'd you say?
That's insane. You don't see that.
Yeah, it's insane.
Ever.
Well on his way to sitting in New York. Give me Bama. Give me Bama to cover. I don't think this game is close. Lock it in. This is my lock game of the week right here.
Obviously, not too much to say after that breakdown, Noah, but, I think LSU's locker room is in shambles, and I don't think their interim coach is going to do anything to put it back together to put up anything against Alabama. I expect Alabama to win pretty handily. I think it gets out of hand pretty quick. Ty Simpson's going to have another good game, continue to prove himself. I'm taking the Tide to win this one.
LSU's offense has had no identity all year, and I don't expect them to find it against Alabama and Bryant-Denny at night. It doesn't make sense to me.
Go ahead, Matt. You had a point.
I was going to say something to take note of this game. Ty Simpson is EvenFront's best quarterback in college football. I think that will come into play this week.
Debatable. Yeah.
I think a lot of people were doubting the Bama passing game after last week, whether it was after the 4 straight ranked games in a row, if they just slowed down a little. I think mainly played part the Isaiah Horton and Lazier Brooks, 2 of the top receivers being out, and they're both back and healthy after the bye week this week. I don't know if Bama's going to throttle them, but because they tend to keep 15, 14 play drives throughout each game they play. But I mean, I think it'll 38-17, 38-20. It'll give me Bama the cover.
Yeah, and that is a unique trend that we seem to be picking up with DeBoer. He doesn't seem to throttle teams. He seems to
like to.
Yeah, but he doesn't throttle teams. So maybe I'm a little hesitant on my cover pick, but on paper they should.
Yeah, I mean, at some point is it DeBoer not being able to blow teams out? Is it just DeBoer being able to win every game he plays? At some point, he's just winning.
Yep.
Yeah, DeBoer is 26-6 in 1-score games. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, that is insane.
Last thing on LSU, they've got the number 1 recruit, Lamar Brown, 2026 class. Just really interested to see if he stays there after what's happened. Just Brian Kelly is the single person who recruited him. That's a big recruit from LSU. He's got offers from Bama and Auburn and Georgia. I doubt he stays there. So we'll see if this game influences him at all. Money talks.
Yeah. The state of that LSU program is so interesting to me, with the governor stepping in, like trying to help with the coaching hire. It sounds like a circus over there. I'm not sure how it's going to play out at LSU.
Running the AD off that has won 4 national championships the past 6-7 years.
Interesting decision. Any predictions for who LSU hires, Matt?
Everyone's saying Kiffin. I don't think Kiffin's leaving Ole Miss, so I'm interested to see what they'll do. I think they can go get a big hire. If Summerall to Auburn falls through, I would not be surprised if they go get an in-state guy that's recruited Louisiana really well. I think it would be a culture fit because he knows Louisiana. I haven't really looked too much into that one. I've been focused on Auburn this week. But I will say Kiffin's a home run hire. We hadn't really talked about Kiffin. Only reason he's not on the Auburn list is because he already shut that down last year. What do you mean shut that down? He signed a 7-day honeymoon clause. He accepted the job, and then he did walk away from the job because that's what I meant.
Convinced him to stay in Oxford or whatever. He wanted that job though.
That's what I was talking about. Shut it down.
Yep, fair. Yeah.
Any predictions, Noah and Jack?
I think Florida and LSU are fighting over Lane Kiffin. I think the loser is going to end up with Eli Drinkowitz. That is my prediction. I think those are your 2 guys for those 2 jobs. Jack?
I kind of agree with Noah on that. I think LSU might have that G5 stigma when it comes to hiring head coaches. They typically go for the biggest name out there, as you've seen with Brian Kelly. I expect them to continue that trend. And as Noah said, it could be Eli Drinkowitz going to the loser between LSU and Florida, whichever one doesn't get Kiffin. So
it's just hard for me to realize these SEC head coaches that are in places where they have all the resources they need, like Ole Miss. It's hard for me to imagine a world where Kiffin leaves Ole Miss, or even Drink Mizzou. I mean, they've gotten a couple 5-star plus recruits over there, so I don't think resources is an issue. So I think it adds a lot of spice to the head coaching carousel.
A question I'd like to ask you, Matthew, is would it be harder for Lane Kiffin to win a national championship at Ole Miss next year or LSU next year? See what he's already built at Ole Miss. That's kind of where you're coming from, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it takes a couple of years, which, I mean, NIL's completely changed that, but I think typically throughout history, it's taken a couple of years for a program to get to a spot where they're able to win national championships. You don't see many guys do it off a first-year bump. I think Kiffin's built something special in Ole Miss. They about knocked off Georgia last week. I think in a lot of ways they dominated that game. So I don't know if – and obviously his family loves Oxford. His son plays at the high school. They're starting quarterback. His daughter goes to school there. It's hard for me to visualize a world where he leaves Ole Miss, and I've watched a lot of interviews with him talking about just – I think he made that decision to leave Tennessee for USC and almost ended his career. So I think he's going to be little wary of leaving a place where it's going good to something uncertain.
I think it comes down to how Lane Kiffin views the jobs in his mind. Obviously, none of us can predict how he views the jobs, but from my perspective, I think you have a much higher ceiling and opportunity for sustained success at either LSU or Florida. You can talk about the recruiting at Oxford. You can talk about drink recruiting at Missouri. It's undeniable the resources are much more at LSU and Florida. He's got to be looking at that, thinking that that's enticing, especially in this day and age when he could go in with that war chest and flip that program within the offseason.
Last thing, a few thoughts on it. A lot of people are saying LSU and Florida are by far better jobs, which it probably does have a higher ceiling, especially 10 years ago. But I mean, in today's age, like all y'all said with NIL, and just is it really that much of a better job than Ole Miss, especially with what's already established? And another name I don't think people are talking about, which is there's actually been a lot of noise up in Southern Cal that Lincoln Riley is coming to take one of these SEC jobs, but we'll see if it actually happens.
Be a questionable hire for my money.
It really would, but I mean, there's been a lot of noise that he's coming to take one.
I can confirm there's no mutual interest with Auburn, with Lincoln Riley.
Yeah. Moving on to the next game, which I think should have been the EvenFront game of the week, but as a group we decided against that, the Oregon-Iowa game. So once Matt get this graphic up, we'll let him go first on what he thinks.
I love this game. I actually do not have a picture for this one.
That's cool. Iowa didn't lose a close one yet.
That's for next week. Sorry about that. That's my take on the game. Yeah, I don't have a graphic for this one. Either way, I think Iowa's my graphic there. Iowa's the most criminally underrated team in the country. I think the committee recognized that this weekend, gave them the respect they deserve. They're the only team all year to keep it within one score with Indiana. Indiana's been throttling people. They won that game by 5 points, and I think
a game they really – sorry to interrupt – a game they really could have won.
Yeah, I was about to say Iowa really, really washed that one away late. I think they're playing at home. I forget their stadium name. It's like they're playing home, home field advantage. Their coach.
Talking about Iowa's home field.
Yeah, Kinnick Stadium. Yeah. They've won a lot of games there. Mark Gronkowski, he's going to have to put together his best game. He hadn't thrown for over 200 yards this year. He's gotten close, about 190, 180. I think if he's able to do that here, I think they're able to shut down an Oregon team that got stunned by Indiana, obviously got dominated by Indiana, I would say. I wouldn't say the same for Iowa. I've got Iowa minus points.
Go ahead, Noah.
Well, yeah. Yeah, very similar approach here. I know a lot of people are talking about the weather going on in Iowa this weekend, and it's going to be, a lot of snow, a lot of rain. But Oregon's not unfamiliar with that. Up in Oregon, man, that weather gets rough. It rains more in Oregon than it does in Iowa. So I don't think that plays too much into this game. I'll also think Iowa sees the pattern set by Indiana, and they can match that. That Iowa run game is pretty solid. And let me tell you what my stat is on this game. Kirk Ferentz is 5-1 in November against top 10 opponents. I think he keeps it going. Again, an ugly game. Iowa wins minus the points.
Go ahead, Jack.
I'm not taking Iowa to win this game. I expect Dan Lanning to keep his little train rolling. He's going to come into Iowa, be prepared to play. I do think it's going to be a tough game. I think it's worth mentioning that it is a pretty good environment that they have there at that game.
Are you guys experiencing some lag, or is that on my end?
It's on your end.
Yeah.
And the elements will be tough too. I've kind of thought about how, we haven't talked about it, but how all these Big Ten teams are traveling thousands of miles throughout the year to play. Could this finally catch up to them in this Iowa game? I don't know. Could it get them off the rhythm that they've been experiencing? I don't know. But even then, I'm still taking Oregon to win this game.
I don't know how much Iowa football y'all have watched this year, but, I mean, that is one I would argue behind Ohio State is the second best defense in the country. They're top 5 in don't know if it's run or pass defense, but they're top 10 in both. The one they're number 5 in, and they, I mean, that Indiana passing game, they didn't put up 50 on everyone. They completely shut that down. I mean, Fernando Mendoza really didn't have anywhere to go with the ball when they played. And I just think it's going to be coming into the weather game. Coming into the weather game, like Noah said, it's going to be really tough. I mean, Oregon has not been super impressive, especially since Indiana lost. They were up 7-0 on, I mean, maybe the worst Power 4 team in Wisconsin at half. It's just not been a good past couple games for Oregon.
What's Oregon's win that they're hanging their hat on right now?
Yeah, I mean, they don't really have.
That's okay though, right? They beat in the whiteout before Penn State went down.
That is, I do think people are taking credit away from the
debate
game.
that
That was a big win against Penn State at the time. That was before the fall off. I do think that was just a good team.
I think
that's an unknown. Like if Penn State beats Oregon, there is their season completely different. It's hard to say.
Yep. I mean, you got,
or do they?
This is really a game. Yeah, this is really a game and how well Dante Moore plays, in my opinion. I mean, it's a really good Iowa defense, and depending if he's making the right reads, making the right throws, which he was able to do against Penn State. Indiana, not so much. Really played a bad game against Indiana, and that's really what knocked him out of the Heisman race. So,
but it's
I'm taking Iowa plus the points.
Yeah, I think that
Iowa pulls it out.
Together. Yeah, and if Dante Moore, if he lives up to his ceiling, and that O-line puts them together, Oregon wins and covers. I do
think I see a scenario where Oregon does go in there and dominate, but I just don't think Dante Moore lives up to his potential yet. I think Iowa gets that 3rd spot in the Big 12. I really do. I think they get that 3rd playoff spot.
Yeah, I don't. Like Noah said earlier, it being a rain game, I think that kind of honestly favors Oregon. They have a really good run game and a really good run defense, and that's what Iowa hangs their hat on too. I think until proven otherwise, I still got Iowa, but I think it could be a real grinder game. I think if Iowa does win, it'll be by a possession. I think if Oregon wins, it'll be by several.
Yeah. I think DeCorian Moore, he's kind of fallen off recently these past 2 games. He's just going to need to have a big game against some really solid Iowa corners. So, well, moving on to our –
when I was at Mercer, we played Mark Gronkowski in the playoff, and he absolutely gave us belt. So respect to that guy, and I think he does have that dog in him, I will say.
Is it Gronowski or Gronkowski? I think it's Gronowski.
Gronowski? I thought it was like Gronkowski.
It's not Gronkowski. You've been saying Rob Gronkowski is playing.
No, I did not say Gronkowski.
I hope Rob Gronkowski's not the QB.
Yeah, but they would win though.
Yeah.
Besides the point.
On to the final game. Texas A&M, Missouri. Big game for Missouri. Is a must-win if they want any chance at the playoff. Backup QB. Any initial thoughts, Noah?
Yeah, and this was almost my lock of the week right here. We look at what Missouri has done against opposing quarterbacks. Listen to this. So Ty Simpson, 7 yards rushing. Lenore Sellers, -28. Diego Pavia, 20. And Jaden Daniels looks like he was sitting at about 15 rushing yards. Marcel Reed is going to have to throw the football. The good news is I think he has the weapons and the ability to do it. Missouri starting a freshman quarterback. Missouri also has the worst home field advantage in the SEC. I can say because I went there last year. It was a glorified high school stadium. A&M goes in there. They run them out of the stadium. They win. They cover. I don't think it's close. Drinkowitz is also very, very distracted while he's interviewing for these LSU and Florida jobs. A&M all day.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, similar sentiment. I do think Missouri will get after Marcel Reed. Their front 7 has been awesome this year with Byron Young. They got after Ty Simpson a lot. That's one of the games that really dialed in on Missouri. They got after Ty Simpson all day long. I think they will get after Marcel Reed, but I think Texas A&M has too many weapons. They're undefeated. It's hard for me to bet against Texas A&M right now, 8-0. So I've got Texas A&M to cover.
Go ahead,
Go ahead, Grayson.
Here we go. Yeah, I think it's very hard to bet against Texas A&M right now, especially with a backup QB. Even though Matt Zollers did play pretty well when he went in at the end against Vanderbilt 2 weeks ago, I find it hard to see Missouri putting up enough points to stay in the game with Texas A&M. Even though, I mean, Zion Young on that D-line for Missouri is a future first-round pick. But, yeah, give me Texas A&M, give me the points. Let's see if I have any notes on this game. I mean, someone who has really fallen off the trail is Ahmad Hardy. He had, I mean, one of the best starts in college football history his first 4 games. He is completely, ever since SEC play, he's been, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's like bottom 5 running backs right now. He's being held like 50 yards a game. So I don't know what happened to him, but for them to have any sort of chance, he's got to have a monster game.
Yeah, Bama's. I'm not gonna say horrible, but Bama's bad run defense. Not bad, obviously not bottom of the barrel. They held him to 54 yards, and after that, it's kind of been downhill.
Tell me what DJ Durkin's Auburn defense held him to. What's it looking at? Do you have it right there? It's in the 50s as well, I believe. Yeah, he came in and he couldn't move it.
Yeah, he's
Now,
not.
could it be that defensive coordinators have been so focused on stopping Ahmad Hardy, and maybe Texas A&M like forgets about him because of his lackluster performances the past few games, and maybe he pops out again, has a good game. Even if he does, I still expect Texas A&M to win. I don't think
Ahmad Hardy did have 2 rushing touchdowns and 58 yards against Auburn.
58 yards. That's your stat right there.
Yeah. Like I said, I think I'm taking Texas and Texas A&M in this one. Sorry, that was random.
Hey, goodness to take. That's it for all the games we have. Next, we're going to move on to the college football rankings. I don't really have too many complaints with it. The one complaint that I've seen a bunch of people make is that Notre Dame is ranked 8 spots above Miami when they have a head-to-head win. Miami has a head-to-head win over Notre Dame, and a lot of people are saying the committee's giving Notre Dame credit for their losses, and that's just a bad reason to have them in the top 10. Any thoughts on this, Noah?
Yeah. I have no major complaints. I think what the trend we see emerging with like this Notre Dame situation and stuff, it's pretty evident that the College Football Playoff Committee takes into account recent successes way more than early losses in the season.
Yeah.
And maybe they should put it in their bylaws. Maybe they should set it in stone. But I kind of agree with it. If we want to end up with the top 12 teams at the end of the season, kind of got to ride the hot hand a little bit. You can't run your whole season and base all of your credibility off of a week win, right? I like it. I don't have any major disputes with that Notre Dame ranking.
I agree. I think it's fine for the committee to really, evaluate a team on their trajectory, because at the end of the day, they're not putting in that week 2 team. They're putting in that post regular season team in the playoffs, which can be a totally different team. And Matthew probably can speak from his own experience that the way a team plays in week 2, week 3 is totally a different team from postseason, that sort of thing. Also, they still played a close game against Texas A&M, who's still undefeated. No one else has competed with them like Notre Dame has. So I think it's well deserved for where they're at. So.
Yeah, Coach Summer always used to say the biggest jump a team makes is between week 1 and week 2. I look at Alabama. If you judge Alabama off their week 1 performance, you probably think they're going to lose 5 or 6 games this year. That obviously hadn't been the case, and I think it's hard to hold that against Notre Dame. I will say I think the biggest issue people are having is not necessarily that Notre Dame is ranked. I think it's more so the gap between Notre Dame and Miami. I don't think it's necessarily that they're both ranked. I think it's just the disparity between the two, especially when Miami has that. Did they beat? I'm sorry. I don't think they have any common opponents, which is why I'm having issues on this one.
No, they have no common opponents.
Either way, to your point, I think, Notre Dame has gotten better as a team since they played Miami. Miami has gotten worse as a team.
So But the Notre Dame strength of schedule after those first two losses hadn't exactly been anything to write home about. But you're right. I do think there is probably a little bit too much of a disparity between the Notre Dame and Miami rankings. But I think Miami might even be getting punished a little bit just by the committee. You know, they had such high expectations that they didn't live up to, and
you guys embarrassed us
out on them.
I mean, that's the next thing I want to go on to is that talking about Miami's ranked 18th, and they've been punished for that. I mean, there's 0 ACC teams inside the top 12 right now to get in. The highest ranked, I think Virginia's 14th or 13th, and I mean, I think they've basically said this is one league bid, and that's just how it's going to be. So,
yeah, I think Virginia's in serious contention for that bid. I think they actually currently have it by the committee's current rankings. I think that's a team to sleep on. I think they have played some close ones and made it a lot scarier than it should be for Virginia, but I think it's a team to watch too. We haven't really talked about that much.
I mean, a weird thing with Virginia is that their one loss is to an ACC team, but it doesn't count against them because it was outside of their conference schedule. It was the rivalry game with NC State, so it doesn't count against them. It's a really interesting thing, but
that's unique. Absolutely.
I think Louisville is probably the favorite right now with Miller Moss and Chris Bell, but I mean, Georgia Tech's still there. I really don't know. Miami is not getting in the college football playoff. I don't know. There's literally 0 path to in the ACC championship, so I mean they're done.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We saw the first 6 weeks from them.
That's like weird. I thought the first 3-4 weeks of the season, I saw Carson Beck, and I'm like, man, like why didn't that guy work out at Georgia? He seems like the best quarterback in college football. I think he was number 1 in the Heisman race probably up until week 4, and he's just absolutely imploded the past few games. Against SMU last week, there's an interception in overtime at 3rd and goal. Can't do that in that situation. I think it's kind of weird how he's just absolutely exploded. I think some of the throws if you watch those first couple games, he's making elite throws, on-time throws, making his check downs. And he's just, quite frankly, he's just been missing in the big moments, and that's kind of why Miami's sitting where they're at right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any more thoughts on that, Noah or Jack? ACC pick, who's getting in?
Louisville, you're right. I mean, I think Jeff Brom's too good of a coach, and I think Miller Moss is a good quarterback. I think Louisville takes that ACC spot.
I think you're underestimating.
I would agree with that. Give me Louisville to win the ACC.
I think Georgia Tech is still very much in the race, but we'll see.
I think Georgia Tech. Listen, nobody loves Haynes King and Brent Key and that coaching staff like more than me. I think the world of all of them, but if you look at their strength of schedule, and I mean those first 8 games, they didn't play anybody, and then they get challenged by an NC State team. But yeah, I mean they've been pretty decent. They've been talented, right? We mentioned they beat Virginia, but they come in and they whoop on Georgia Tech. I don't think Georgia Tech will make the playoffs. I don't.
Let me give you all a hypothetical. If Georgia Tech goes in and beats Georgia and they lose the ACC championship, is there any way they're getting in? It's 1-2.
I think it depends on what that loss looks like in the ACC championship. There could be a potential path of that. Is that game at Georgia? Is that right?
It's at Georgia Tech.
Oh, it's at Georgia Tech. Yeah, I mean, I think if you make a statement win against Georgia and then lose a close one in the ACC championship, you probably do make it in.
I agree, and also it may depend on how does Georgia fare down the road as well. Like how well does Georgia do in the SEC championship game if they make that sort of thing. So,
moving on, this interesting one. Do you think? So I'm gonna tell y'all Texas and OU schedules. They're both at 12 and 13 right now on the cusp. But if either of them win out, they're obviously in. Texas has to play Georgia and Texas A&M. Oklahoma has Bama, Missouri, and LSU. Is there any chance either of those two teams gets in the college football playoff?
No chance for Texas. I can tell you that. I mean, overtime wins against Kentucky and Mississippi State.
The SEC.
Maybe they're peaking at the right time, though. That Vandy one was pretty impressive.
Arch Manning, man, sell his stock now. I'm not an Arch Manning believer. I don't think Texas has what it takes to make the playoffs. Now, Oklahoma, on the other hand, could make it interesting. If John Mateer could pick it up after his injury. I think they have a good enough defense to make a run. But we'll see. I think it'll all come down to what happens in Bryant-Denny Stadium against Alabama, right, with Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Oklahoma got Alabama last year at home. Who's to say they can't? And I think Oklahoma was unranked at the time, so who's to say a ranked Oklahoma can't go in and punch Alabama at home?
Yeah, we'll see.
I think John Mateer's still nursing back to full health as well. So, the way he was looking at the beginning of the year, translate that into the end of the year, I think they have some potential to make a run still. Don't count them out.
He's a lot like Diego Pavia in the sense that I don't know if he necessarily has the greatest arm or the most athletic guy on the field, but he plays a lot really tough football. I think when he's not physically there, I think it really takes away from his game and his confidence level, but I still think he's a dog.
Man, I think you're underestimating and not giving him credit to Mateer. Before his injury, you look at those highlights, you look at his games, he has all the athletic ability he needs, all of it and more. I think he is a much more athletic Diego Pavia.
I mean, the problem with Oklahoma is Mateer, after the hand injury, thumb injury, whatever it was, he's been so prone to interceptions and just bad throws. It's just going to be if he's nursed back to health enough off of the bye week, coming to the Bryant-Denny.
He may also be struggling to regain some confidence coming off that injury as well. So I think his confidence will continue to build, which is going to.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard coming off an injury. I had surgery on my ankle last year, and even when you're like the doctors clear you and you're good to play, it takes you a couple weeks to even feel like you can still fire off like you used to, or in his case, like rip the ball like you used to, because you just feel like you're going to re-injure it, even though you're probably not. I think it's going to take him a couple weeks to get. I just think I hate the stretch of games that injury came through. I think that happened early in the year. He may have been able to recover from it.
Yeah. Well, moving on, we have two more topics real quick. Already hinting on this a little bit. If Iowa beats Oregon, Iowa's probably that third Big Ten team. It's looking like a three bid league this year. With Oregon, if Oregon beats Iowa, they still have to play USC and Washington, which are two 6-2 teams in the Big Ten. Michigan, if they win out and beat Ohio State, I mean that they're 10-2. They're most likely in. Who do you guys think gets that third spot, or maybe even a fourth spot? Is there a chance two teams gets in from the Big Ten outside of Indiana, Ohio State? Anyone go ahead.
I think Iowa.
Let me rephrase it. Who's your third? Who do you think that is it? Oregon? Is it Iowa? Is it Michigan?
I think that's why the Oregon Iowa game was in our big games this week. I think this game has a lot of weight to it. I think whoever wins this game will be that third team that would get the bid. I think it's going to end one of their seasons, quite frankly, in their playoff hopes. Like I said, I think I picked Iowa for that. I think I'm going Iowa, but I could see Oregon too.
I think Oregon will win this game against Iowa and give me Oregon as that third team out of the Big Ten.
Yep. Listen, no chance Michigan's beating Ohio State. I can tell you that right now. Again, defaulting to my pick earlier, we'll go with Iowa as that third team.
I'm sure they said no chance Michigan beats Ohio State. They went in there and beat them.
I believe I said the same thing last year, and Michigan somehow got it done in a funky one. So that's how
those rivalry games can be unpredictable, but.
Bryce Underwood has not impressed me. I mean, I know he has all the physical ability in the world. He will be an NFL quarterback one day, but not this year.
He's not ready yet.
True freshman, man. He got thrown in the fire early, but I think
Justice Haynes is out for a while, right?
What'd you
say?
Isn't Justice Haynes out for a while?
Yeah, I think he's
out. I don't know if he'll be out for that Ohio State game, but he's out for that game. It's
probably a big loss for them, especially on the run game.
Keep going.
No, you're good,
man. Final question. Big 12, you got two teams in there right now, Texas Tech and BYU, 7-8. Any chance the Big 12 gets a second bid? I mean, I could see Notre Dame loses a third game somewhere along the lines, maybe at Pitt or at Stanford. If they lose one of those games, maybe a second Big 12 team gets in. Any chances, Matt?
I think Texas Tech would have to beat BYU this weekend.
Yeah.
And I think BYU would be the second team to get in just because their record's so good, and their one loss would be to a probably number 4, number 5 Texas Tech team. Yeah, I think BYU would be the second pick there, but I don't think it really goes that far outside of that. I don't think the committee really values the Big 12 as a great conference.
I agree. Honestly, same take there. I mean, I think to get 2 teams in, Texas Tech has to win this football game tomorrow. If they do, you get in both Texas Tech and BYU more than likely.
Yeah.
Beyond that, no, I don't. I think it'll be a win team bid for the Big 12.
Nothing more to be said. It's a top-heavy conference, and Texas Tech and BYU are the big players in that conference. Texas Tech must win this game for BYU to have a chance, or for the Big 12 to have a chance to have 2 teams. So,
final thing before we end, Matt. I don't know if you have the graphic of the Auburn take with their 3 top. If you know what I'm referring to, the 3 top choices they had that was a little outrageous. I don't know if you have it.
I don't have that tweet pulled up. I can pull it up on my laptop and read it to you boys.
Go ahead.
Give me just a second on
I
that.
want to get Auburn Insider's take on if any of these people have a possibility of coming to Auburn, if there's a chance of a big hire out there.
Hey, it was a good list. I'll give the guy that.
He knew what he wanted.
I think Noah may actually agree with this guy in a lot of ways.
I really hope Auburn Insider does not agree with what this guy was saying. It had me and Matthew laughing pretty hard.
Surprised. Also, shout out to this guy. I believe his take was so bad we started arguing, and that's actually I believe how we got where we are right now. So respect to that guy. Cowboys may have to give me some background music or something while I look for this.
All right. Question while he's finding this. What's the better conference, Big Ten or SEC?
SEC.
Silly question, SEC. Next question.
There's been a lot of talk about how Big Ten's won the last 2 championships. Apparently they're
okay. I think
as a conference.
I think part of that, as a conference SEC, and that's the question. Now, yes, have they had recent success in the national championship? They have. And part of that is because their strength of schedule is weaker. They're not as banged up, and they haven't had to play all these tough games.
I agree.
To get to that point. So, I mean, ultimately, Ohio State plays 1 or 2 big games a year. Penn State, maybe. Oregon, maybe. The rest is a cakewalk.
I'm not trying to take away any from the Ohio State and the Michigan team that won the last two years. Those are both 2 great teams with a lot of NFL talent. But I just would love to see, especially Indiana this year, play an SEC schedule. They got a back-to-back Missouri, Tennessee, Georgia, Vandy, LSU, and just see how they do.
SEC fans do love a good hypothetical situation, I will say. Well, I've got the tweet ready for you.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. This is in Auburn Sports. Noah's probably remembering here. This may have been Noah, maybe Noah's burner.
Give them credit. What's their at?
I don't want to say it on the pod. It's war dang explicitive. We'll probably won't say that on the pod, but here's his list. This was about an hour after the news broke that Hugh Freeze got fired. This ended up on Message Board Geniuses. Number 1, Kurt Cignetti, 95% chance that he can restore Auburn's program, not 100. Number 2, Lane Kiffin, 85% chance he can restore the program. Keep in mind, there's a bunch of typos in here too. I'm reading this more fluently than he wrote it. Number 3, DJ Durkin, 50-50 chance he can restore Auburn.
So it wasn't Noah's burner account.
Yeah, it wasn't Noah. Maybe Noah's trying to throw us off his DJ Durkin takes.
Please read the bottom take.
Yeah, this is the best part. If we make it past this list, so these are the only 3 guys he's fine with hiring. If we make it past this list, we will remain a bottom third of SEC until next coaching search.
You know the crazy thing? I agree with it, and I'll tell you why.
I'll tell you would
like. Wait. No, let him finish.
Okay.
Let him finish.
You finish, and I'll tell you why.
This is why we thought it was Noah's burner here. If any nut is dumb enough to even mention Sumrall in this thread, I'm gonna puke.
All right, listen. I don't think he's necessarily wrong. You gotta hear this guy out. Is he wrong? Kurt Signetti would turn around the Auburn program. He's right. Kiffin would also turn around.
No, 95% chance he would turn around the Auburn program.
Fine. And then DJ Durkin at his third spot. And he said anybody beyond that list he wouldn't be happy with. DJ Durkin's the right hire. That tracks. Now, Summerall, he could be a 4B. I think he's a B- hire. He probably should have made that list with like a 25% chance to turn around the program.
This guy doesn't even want to mention it. Everybody's scared of having the next G5 Billy. I think that's really a prevailing sentiment in the SEC right now. Nobody wants the G5 guy, but it has worked out before.
Or the Brian Harsin. I mean, you can't not understand that take. I mean, it's a pretty valid take looking at the recent track record.
I just think the crazy thing is that how unrealistic, like the guy generally thinks that those are the three guys that are Lane Kiffin.
You think
zero chance? I love Auburn. I think there's a great program, can get a good hire. Zero chance those guys are coming to Auburn. And no, is there any chance that Auburn's hiring a Ryan Day or Nick Saban or a Kurt Signetti right now?
No, but listen, this is one of the beautiful things about the Auburn fan base. We're delusionally loyal to Auburn, right? So whoever comes and coaches here, they will get absolute buy-in until they put up 3 points against Kentucky. I mean, come here, everybody will love you. Those guys, we're so delusional. I mean, we could hire anybody and we'll be convinced we're winning the national championship next year, just to be completely honest.
All right. I think that does it for the inaugural episode of the EvenFront show. Next Friday, we will definitely be back. Could be a Tuesday episode. We'll see. But definitely next Friday. And we will see everyone later.